So all of these brain savant tests will prove that law enforcement is basically extremely envious of my brain savant. And basically what happens is autistic people have a natural habitat. So in early childhood, which was tested on January 20th, 2026, it was staring into the History Channel logo from morning till night, till at nighttime. My mother would turn off the TV and tell me to go to sleep. And the next day, from morning till night, I would do the exact same thing from morning till night without taking a single second's break. It would give me pleasure, make me feel good, and I was just obsessed with it. Hard to explain, but if you check the artificial intelligence report from January 20th, 2026, it will explain everything to you from how it was in early childhood for my autistic brain savant. Now, it evolved over time, and what it became after it evolved was seen from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, where I would stare into a textbook from morning till night with a brain scanner, and exact same feeling I would get from a child, except now I had superhuman powers that they would not let me use, using severe amnesia drugs and locking up my ears and doing things of that certain nature. Well, after July 1st, 2023, they never let me stare into a textbook anymore, because on the mid-May 2023 test, they found out that my brain savant powers were increasing over time. Well, they locked it up completely after July 1st, 2023, so I couldn't stare into a textbook anymore. But guess what? November 14, 2025 and May 10th, 2026, we found out that the brain savant powers were increasing nonetheless. So 6 days after November 14th, 2025, when they fabricated the false testimony against me on November 20th, 2025, which law enforcement knew they were about to fabricate. Because before I went to Russia, they were freaking out that I knew about their false testimonies from before. They were scared that the one for November 20th would get caught as well, because I knew the ones from before, like the wedding incident one from 2023, when they ran sex schemes and money fraud all year for Uncle Joey and tried to frame me for something that I could not even remotely be present for. Since poverty was a blessing in disguise for me, but all their BFFs like Assad would be present there, and they would cover over the crime scene, thus becoming the criminals themselves. So before November 10th, 2025, law enforcement basically panicked and freaked out because they realized that I knew about their past false testimonies that they tried to frame me for. Yeah. And so basically after November 20th, 2025, I knew exactly what had happened. Law enforcement used my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters to falsify a false testimony against me. Again, yeah. And I knew exactly why it was. It was because my dad realized after November 1st, 2025, that I wasn't sharing any of the money, and he knew exactly everything about my brain savant, and I was in no mood for sharing, and I knew exactly what he was up to. He wanted a share of the pie, something he does not deserve a single penny of, and I was in no mood for sharing. We know for a fact, I mean, I could go through the record. February 17, 3:02 a.m., he was making a list. He tried incest, he tried all kinds of things. Big, fat, ugly old sisters, March 7th, March 10th. I could go through the list, you know, like you already know it. It's in the past videos anyways. So after November 20th, when the false testimony was made against me, they used so much severe mental torture drugs on me, law enforcement did, that I pretty much thought that I was going to die, commit suicide, and no one would ever find out what the real story was. Well, I remember I went into the hotel lobby. I was in Moscow, Russia at that time. It was still part of the 25-day Brain Savant Challenge that I wrote in my journal before I went there, because I got sick and tired of the argument. And so basically, I just wanted to shake that security guard at the hotel in Moscow, Russia that I was staying in. I was staying at the Cosmos Hotel. Yeah, I just wanted to go shake him up and just be like, hey, look, I didn't do it. Whatever they're trying to say I did not do it. It's a false testimony, and the story is something totally different. And the story was something totally different. It was my brain savant that they've been obsessed with since they found out about it. And every single adult that they've used, well, the biggest problem is every adult I've ever known in my life have all been used for sex schemes and money fraud, which means that if a child was I have to be a child when the war occurred. I was an 11-year-old child in 2001, which means that if some adult did say anything bad around me, even remotely considered bad, which would not be what my dad, the greedy framer, was saying and doing in 2011, but let's say someone did, it would not be my mother. She's never uttered one word considered bad her entire life, and it would be one of law enforcement's own BFFs. And as soon as I would gain the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, my mother would be like how she said on February 15th at 8:30 p.m., she would be like, look, I don't need to leave you outside anymore because you can stay at home alone now. So you got to stay at home alone and help out around the house. So basically, that's what happened as soon as I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child. The problem with law enforcement was that talking point doesn't work, because if anyone did even remotely say anything remotely considered bad around me as a child, well, it would only be as a child. And as soon as I would gain the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, my mother never left me with anyone else ever again. So that means what? The person who would have said it would be running either sex schemes or money fraud with law enforcement since 2001. And if law enforcement would try to exaggerate something to make the child look bad, well, the children are not ever liable under the law, especially when the mother is not even there. She's working at fast food restaurants, or if it's nighttime, she's working at a factory, and the child is only there when he's not even mentally mature enough to be left at home yet, as she said on February 15th at 8:30 p.m., then obviously he would go to the adults who said it and the other adults who knew about it. My mother would not know about it because she wouldn't be there, obviously. And you know for a fact I'm telling the truth, because if you look back at the records, you will see that if anyone even said anything remotely considered bad, my mother could not be there, which literally proves that I was only there due to my mother being at work, which is why I'm so sure that my mother could not be there. And so, yeah, so then the problem for law enforcement would be, well, the adult saying something bad would be held liable under the law, and the adults who knew about it. Well, the adult saying something bad has been running sex schemes and money fraud with law enforcement since 2001, and the adults who knew about it would not be my mother. Then she would only go over, pick me up, and go home. And so, yeah, and so basically that's what would happen. And so who would be liable? The person saying it and the person who knew about it. People who were running sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001 obviously knew about it. People that have been running money fraud for years and years obviously knew about it. And those are all law enforcement. So there's law enforcement and their BFFs held liable under the law. So this is a big problem for law enforcement. So yeah, I got to put this in my journal as well. I just forgot to do so. But the thing about it is just the fact that, you know, the reason I had to make this video is mainly due to law enforcement's disgusting behavior right now of trying to go after my elementary school teachers and begging them for sex like how they do for everyone else. And Jeanette doing this, and her probably telling Jeanette, like, I'm your mother's age and I'm gonna have to talk to your mother about this, which is incredibly humiliating. First of all, no one lacking social skills would do this in the first place. But the thing about it is just the fact that, you know, she just wanted to invite me over for dinner after I would get my first work done. Obviously, like, if I would be a school teacher, I would invite a female student over to my house for dinner. After, like, I wouldn't be like, come over when you get your stuff done. But like, if she was smart enough, she would only go after getting her things done. Like, what are you going to talk about if you're there before? You know, it's that sort of thing. Like, there's nothing to talk about then. So you get your thing done and then you go. And that's what it was all about. Jeanette took it the other way, and he wanted sex. And he started begging her for sex, like she's your mother's age. It's incredibly humiliating. In the end, she just says what any woman someone's mother's age would say: I'm going to have to speak to your mother about this. Incredibly humiliating. But the thing I had to say was, after getting humiliated over and over again and breaking my car, my charging outlet, my fire stick for my TV, Jeanette's not going to speak in court anymore, but he's going to try to get his sisters, Sonia and Sophia, to go speak for him in court due to wanting to get revenge from me. You can see why. I mean, he's breaking my things through law enforcement for getting rejected, but obviously he's not going to go talk himself, since he's gotten so humiliated and badly rejected by these women, his mother's age, that no one in their right mind would. But he will try to get Sonia and Sophia to go speak in court on his behalf, even though they've never known me, and I don't know who these people are. But in order to get revenge, after breaking things like my car, charging outlet, and Fire Stick for my TV, obviously he would do that. But I just think it's wrong for him to be trying to get revenge for something so obvious after breaking my things in a way that due to him not being able to show his face, now using his sisters to go and fight for him in court against me, despite never knowing me and not knowing anything about this case, and only fighting to get revenge for their brother getting rejected by a woman his mother's age that I have absolutely nothing to do with. And we know for a fact that they're doing this to get revenge for this due to the things that they have broken of mine, like my Fire Stick for TV, my charging outlet, my car. After threatening to break it, they broke it from getting rejected so many times. So now, obviously, Junaid is going to use Sonia and Sofia to go fight on his behalf in a case that they have nothing to do with, know nothing about, never knew me my entire life, only to get revenge for their brother getting so badly humiliated by a woman his mother's age that I have absolutely nothing to do with. And this child thing that law enforcement is going to try to use, law enforcement should use it themselves instead of giving it to people who don't even know me or the people in question. Sonia and Sofia have to answer the question. How many times have you met Uncle Joey? One time? Have you ever met him one time in your entire life? Then if Uncle Joey said something bad around me as a child, then how are you and why are you giving narrations on this in court? When you don't know law enforcement, you never even knew me, and you don't know Uncle Joey either, only because your brother Junaid is getting rejected and humiliated by a woman his mother's age that I have nothing to do with, and yet he's breaking my things like my car, charging outlet, and Fire Stick for my TV after threatening to do so. And now wants further revenge for something that I have absolutely nothing to do with, something I would never do, like run after a woman my mother's age, and trying to get revenge for getting humiliated by her. I just think it's absolutely wrong. So I had to put this video through. Thank you.